Columbia, we're just a short paddle from LNG Canada, the country's first ever large-scale liquefied natural gas export facility. It's a big deal.
You don't get a lot of firsts these days, but for the first time, Canadian liquefied natural gas is heading overseas. Fuel from the LNG Canada export terminal in Kitimat, BC, is now sailing towards.
Demand is, in the case of LNG, Asia's the primary market, but now Europe, with the loss of Russian gas, is also a significant market.
June 30th, 2025, remember that date, because it just rewrote Canada's energy playbook. On that crisp summer morning, a gleaming LNG tanker slipped out of Kitimat and pointed its bow toward Asia, ending more than 30 years of total dependence on US pipelines. 8.8 billion cubic feet of Canadian gas used to gush south every single day, feeding American furnaces and padding Ottawa's coffers with about $8 billion a year. Then, Washington slapped tariffs on almost everything that moved, including a 10% hit on natural gas, and overnight those easy gains turned into a chokehold. Suddenly, the Maple Leaf was paying for the privilege of selling its own fuel. Talk about a gut punch. That first westbound cargo wasn't just a shipment. It was a shot across the bow of the trade war. While the White House scrambled to salvage leverage, buyers in China, Japan, and South Korea jostled for the new, cleaner, cheaper supply racing across the Pacific in record time. How does this pivot flip the chessboard? Stick with Global Pulse to find out, and smash that subscribe button so you never miss the twists and turns of global power plays. Let's rewind. By March 4th, 2025, tariff skirmishes had escalated into a full-scale squeeze. 25% on most Canadian exports, 10% specifically on energy. The US Henry Hub benchmark already hovered around 3.75 per million BTU, 5 times the Canadian AESO index. Add duty on top, and Canadian gas lost its price edge in a heartbeat. Long-term contracts wobbled, buyers hesitated, and the once steady cross-border flow looked more like a liability than a lifeline. Fear spread through Alberta's fields and British Columbia's ports. Could Canada even compete? Enter LNG natural gas chilled to minus 165 C. Its volume shrunk 600-fold so it can sail anywhere a tanker can float. Cleaner than coal, indispensable for power grids, plastics, and winter heat, LNG is the 21st century equivalent of oil in the 1970s. Whoever controls it controls the scoreboard. Asia's appetite is ferocious. With Russian supplies under sanctions and coal on the political chopping block, the region is shopping for reliable, politically boring fuel. Canada's Pacific coast offers exactly that. Cue the $40 billion LNG Canada Megaproject in Kitimat, Shell, Petronas, PetroChina, Mitsubishi, and Kogas, all in one grand alliance. They carved a 670-kilometre artery through rugged mountains, linking the Montney shale fields to tidewater. 2 liquefaction trains hum at 14 million tonnes a year, powered by BC's clean hydro, boasting one of the world's lowest carbon footprints for LNG. Over 7 years, they've signed $8 billion Canadian dollars in contracts with local firms and the Heisler Nation, pouring wages into more than 50,000 Canadian paychecks. ESG boxes ticked so hard the pen broke. But engineering miracles don't come cheap. Northern BC's unforgiving climate inflates construction and operating costs far beyond anything on the US Gulf Coast. Environmental rules layer on extra expense, forcing advanced emissions controls and habitat protections. Provincial leaders sweetened the deal with carbon tax credits and sales tax relief, sparking debate at home. Corporate giveaway or necessary catalyst? Either way, the pipe is in the ground, the liquefaction plant is alive, and the Pacific Gateway is open for business. Speed is the secret weapon. A tanker from Kitimat hits Yokohama, Busan, or Shanghai in roughly 10 days, half the time it would take slogging through the Panama Canal from the Gulf of Mexico. Every round trip saves tens of millions in charter and fuel, a discount Asian utilities can't ignore. No wonder Japan vows to lock in an extra 20 million tonnes of LNG a year from 2026, while South Korea expands storage by 50% and China inks decade-long deals before the next winter bite. That debut cargo, 2.6 million tonnes aboard the gas-log Glasgow, did more than ring the cash register. It signalled that Canada is no longer hostage to pipelines or presidential mood swings. Starting next year, LNG Canada plans roughly 170 voyages annually, pumping the full 14 million tonne capacity straight into Asian ports. Talk about diversification. Ottawa just swapped a single customer with tariffs for 3 customers waving open checkbooks. Phase 2 is already on the table. Double the trains, double the output to 28 million tonnes. Catapult Canada into the top 5 LNG exporters alongside Qatar, the US, DOS and Australia. But scaling up means tens of billions more, relentless regulatory reviews, and the delicate dance of Indigenous consultation. Investors love the upside. Taxpayers eye the bill. Environmentalists sharpen their pencils. Will provincial incentives and community equity stakes be enough to push the project over the line? For Washington, the optics sting. A tariff designed to tighten the screws ended up driving its northern neighbour into the arms of America's biggest Pacific rivals and slashed transit times to boot. Will the US double down with new duties or back off to keep Canadian molecules flowing south? For Asia, the math is simpler. Stable democracy, massive reserves, fast shipping, low emissions. Sign here, please. So here we stand at a turning point. Canada has kicked open a door it can't easily close, reshaping its economic destiny and adding a fresh wildcard to global energy politics. The next chapter hinges on Phase 2. Can Kitimat scale to 28 million tonnes, or will ballooning costs and green scrutiny clip its wings? Will America rethink its tariff strategy or risk losing even more ground to Asian demand? Drop your prediction in the comments. Will the maple leaf edge out the competition or get squeezed between energy superpowers? Don't just watch history happen, be part of the conversation. Hit like, ring that bell, and stay tuned to Global Pulse for the inside track on the battles that shape our world.